Tonight, we mourn the 15 innocent victims. We pray for the dozens injured in what was the worst mass shooting in this country since Port Arthur back in 1996. Words are important. We need to call this attack what it was, an Islamist terrorist attack targeting Jews, targeting Sydney's Jewish community. Joining me now is Rabbi Daniel Rabin from Caulfield Shule. Daniel, you had a massive turnout tonight at the Shule. Jacinta Allen, the Premier, was there. What was your message to her?
Yes, thank you so much, Rita. Thank you for having me on your show and for your words of truth and courage always. It was incredible turnout. It was just obviously seeing the sentiment of the Jewish community wanting to come together, and of course many non-Jews who came to support us this evening. The message to the Premier was pretty clear that, the community doesn't believe enough has been done. And the proof is in the pudding, 15 people murdered in cold blood. And that hate has been allowed to sort of go almost unchecked on our streets week to week. And that builds up. And so many in the community have been saying for months and months and months, it wasn't a matter of if it's going to happen, it was a matter of when and where. And sadly, the devastation's occurred. We're reeling from it. And the community is angry, sad, disappointed, but there's belief in a better future, and I think that's really important too.
I understand from people present the Premier was booed quite loudly. Tell me why people in the community feel like political leaders, both state and federal, haven't done enough. What would you like to see happen? What concrete actions do you think will help keep the community safe in Melbourne?
Look, it's something which I've said, again, for so many months. What I'd like to see at a really basic level, every week you see signs in the city, you see on social media, you see organizations that are saying all Zionists are terrorists, death to the IDF. We've received at our synagogue phone calls, you are baby killers, that Israel are the new Nazis. And if you have a Jewish community, which majority of the community identifies as Jewish and Zionist, by saying that they are terrorists, by saying that they are less than, by dehumanizing us and demonizing us, well, then you're going to build a society which I guess will tolerate and even commit these horrendous acts, which we saw on the first day of Hanukkah.
Now, earlier today, the Prime Minister was called out for his record on combating anti-Semitism and his decision to recognise Palestine. Have a listen to this.
In September, your government recognised a Palestinian state. Your ministers have attacked the Israeli government. Senior ministers refused to visit the sites of the October 7 massacres. And you created a special Islamophobia envoy alongside an anti-Semitism envoy. Have you taken the threat of anti-Semitism seriously? And can you guarantee the safety of Jewish Australians?
Yes, we have taken it seriously. And we've continued to act. We've continued to work with Jewish community leaders. We've continued to take all the advice from the security agency.
Rabbi, has the PM done all he can to keep the Jewish community safe?
Well, I think, to say that after 15 people were murdered, we're a colleague of mine, another rabbi who was simply going about trying to inspire his community. And I must say that, Rabbi Schlango, I knew personally, the most incredible human being who was all about light and positivity and, caring for every human being, to be shot in cold blood while he was doing his work to spread light in the world. How can the Prime Minister say that he's done all he can to protect the Jewish community?
Yeah, and I'm so sorry for your loss there. I know you had a close connection there. Home Affairs Minister Tony Burke, he's raced home from New Zealand and he was in Bondi tonight. He arrived quite late, around 9 p.m, and this was the reception he received.
Blood on your hands, Tony Burke!
Shame, Tony Burke, shame!
Shame on you!
There is a great deal of anger in the community, Rabbi. That anger is palpable. It was palpable tonight. Tell me about that, because quite often when we do have these horrific events, there's a sense of sadness, but not immediate anger. It's different this time around.
Yeah, to me, the difference in this occasion, or in this, is because it wasn't just some random, unexpected attack. It wasn't, something which nobody had any idea that there was something brewing or there was hate, building in our society. This is something which is, you speak to any community leader, rabbis, and from other Jewish organizations, and even non-Jewish organizations, and other leaders in different spaces have been saying, we cannot allow this. This is building, the hate's building, the hate's building. And so the anger is because we feel like this was almost preventable to an extent. If they had been strict with it, if they had not allowed the rhetoric to continue week after week, who knows how things may have turned out. But certainly that's where I see, and I speak to, obviously, community members message me, speak to me all the time, and that's the anger. They don't want this for their future, and of course for any Australian's future. This is a country, I remember coming here in 2009 after being a student here much earlier, and I called Australia La La Land. It was like, I loved this country. It was beautiful. It's given me so many opportunities, and to see what's unfolding, no one wants this, whether you're Jewish or not. This is not an Australia that any of us want.
No, and it was, I guess, heartening, though, to see that massive crowd turn up to the Shule tonight, because you would think there would be fear in the community that could be an event that could be targeted.
Yeah, I think that was very encouraging. I think so many flowers were dropped at our Shule and many other synagogues in the town. There was a student from Xavier College, the head boy, whatever they call it today, who's not Jewish, who signed a petition against anti-Semitism, against hate, who spoke tonight. And to me, that was probably the most moving of all that occurred tonight. And obviously the crowd there and the sentiment of togetherness, of belief in a brighter future. But to hear someone, a young person, saying, this is not acceptable, this is not the Australia I want, to me is a very, very encouraging sign. And I think that's where the majority of Australians are sitting at the moment.
Rabbi, thank you so much for your time tonight. Really appreciate it.